So there was slavery, which was really bad, okay? And after that, there was the Emancipation Proclamation in 1862, which ended slavery, but things were still segregated, okay? And then in the Civil Rights Act of 1964, that ended segregation, and everything was fine after that, okay? So are there any questions before we talk about World War II for the rest of the year? Yeah, right here? Yeah, so if segregation ended in 1964, how come there's only 2 black kids in this whole school? Well, so there was slavery.
Moment in time, or is it just an evolution of people hating each other because they're not the same?
So there is a start date, the transatlantic slave trade. You know, that's when you had all these different ethnic groups in Africa that were imagined as one people, one inferior people that was worthy of enslavement, and then simultaneously the racist policies that undergirded the transatlantic slave trade. And we talk about these original racists in the text, and young people are like, whoa, there was the original first racist I had never knew. And you know, that's one of the fascinating things I think about this text.
Even terms like Black Monday, Black Sheep can be freighted with a negative connotation that sometimes we don't even realize.
It's baked into the vocabulary.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't think we even realize when we have a skin color and a regular color, and we're connoting both in a negative fashion, there are relationships between the two. And I think we have to break not only the relationship, but those negative connotations.
And I think just to add is that language, I don't think we give enough credence to the power of language and how language actually works when it comes to informing culture. And so if we can start paying attention to it and shift language, then perhaps we could also shift culture.
Who they see a book like this and they think, look, America's the greatest country that ever existed, and to engage in this sort of negativity is dragging it down. What do you say to that kind of parent who is not going to want their kid to read a book like this?
Well, you know, what I'll say is, if we love the country as much as we claim we do, then we must be honest about it. It's no different than my brother and sister. If I love them like I say I love them, then that means that I can't lie about who they are, and I have to challenge them when I think they're making mistakes. And I think that this is the ultimate act of patriotism, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just saying it's protective, right? You know, we're able to protect young people, so they begin to realize that there's nothing wrong with them, or there's nothing superior about them. So they form an identity that's really accurate about themselves and their society.
You do really well in the book, in my opinion, is you break it down so that people can see what is oftentimes underlying racism, or a racism that some people may not even realize that they have been indoctrinated into. You know, you talk about the Southern strategy. You talk about how Nixon and many Republicans realized that they couldn't just say these things. They couldn't call black people the N-word outwardly. They had to say ghettos, and they had to say thugs, and the code words and language that was used. When breaking that down for kids, do you think that'll help them understand some of those implications that are still in place today?
I do think that breaking it down will help them sort of grapple with it and understand. But I also think that we can create new code, right? And so what I'm saying is that this book, the intention of this book is to create new code, right? Anti-racist is a new code, right? For a person who's really fighting for true equity, for true love. Right, and I think that's our real task. People talk about indoctrination all the time. This idea that like, oh, I don't want this book in my classroom because it's indoctrination. Well, isn't everything? So what if we were able to create new indoctrination for equity and justice?
Wow, powerful.
Part of this uplift suasion that you talk about in the book?
That is, and I think for many people of color in particular, many young people of color, they're taught that really the entire race is on their back, that they always have to act in an upstanding manner around white people, and that's very burdensome for young people. And so we free them of that, and we urge young people to be themselves, and to create an anti-racist society really allows us all to be ourselves with it all of our imperfection.
loved it. I've never read about history like this. I've never read about the now like this, and it really breaks racism down into a beautiful way that I think kids of all races will enjoy. Thank you so much for being on the show. I hope everybody reads it. It should be in every school. I'll tell you that much. Thank you so much for being on the show.